Once again, I want to welcome you all for this evening session. We are going to talk about applying to University of Cambridge, United Kingdom, breaking the barriers. I want to give a disclaimer. The content I'm going to share is not from the University of Cambridge Postgraduate Admissions Office. These are going to be largely my personal experiences, but also thoughts and advices based on my own experience. They are not influenced or informed by the postgraduate office from University of Cambridge. That's number one. The second one, I want to give credit to the MasterCard Foundation that has supported and facilitated the development of the PAM project toolkit, which I'm going to use to share with you. I'm part of the team that developed the tool, but we received the support and funding from MasterCard Scholars Program, University of Cambridge. The toolkit was aimed at having standard information, but also go-to reference point for anyone who is targeting University of Cambridge. So I want to encourage you to go to the pre-application mentorship project called the PAM project to University of Cambridge, and then you download the tool, but also download any resources that is there. And part of the slides I'm going to share here will be loaded there as well. Now, this is not part of the PAM project. We already had the first session today, and we shall have another session on Saturday for various regions in the country, in Africa. So have 5 regions and have 5 mentorship or outreach program. For now, I am leading the East African arm, and after the next week, I'll be sent to lead another arm as time goes on. So the slides I'm going to share are targeting people who are aiming at either master's program at University of Cambridge or PhD at University of Cambridge. So if you're targeting undergraduate program, this may not be fit for you. Why? University of Cambridge undergraduate program are managed at college level. I'm going to briefly talk about that shortly. However, the postgraduate programs are managed by Postgraduate Central Admissions Office. Just to be sure I'm speaking the right team, please use the chat and tell me the course you're targeting. Either Masters of this, MPhil of this, PhD in this. Just let me see that in the chat right now before I proceed with my presentation. I want to be sure I'm speaking the right audience. Okay. Interesting. I want to see more responses. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Nice. So we will stop there. We can continue with those responses coming, but at least I can see that I'm speaking to the right audience. So I will proceed with the presentation. So I'm going to present, and then we shall share the questions later on. So as you start the process of applying, the first step, you're going to create an account. And for you to create an account, you're going to require an active email. Is in other words, a functional email. So please, if you're thinking of applying to University of Cambridge, which I highly recommend, you need to have a functional email because it will require you to log in, but also verify your email as well. The second thing is that the entire application is going to be in English. So if you are another language speaker, like a French speaker or Spanish, unfortunately, you need to be covered with the English language because here all the teaching is done in English. And all the supporting documents, like the CV, like the personal statement, like the transcript, are going to be and should be also in English. They should be translated in English. So I just want to make that very clear from the start. Now, the third point which you need to be covered about is meeting the application deadlines. You need to double check the course you're targeting on the website, but also you need to double check the scholarship deadline you're targeting. I'll talk about them shortly, but aim at submitting your application before the deadline. Because if you get caught up by the deadline, you will not enter the chance for your work to be reviewed. The other point to emphasize is choose the course carefully and choose the course that you are well aligned to, the course that speaks to your competence, but also the course that you have longer-term career goals in. Now, that one is very important because when you are speaking in your personal statement, you will need to connect your current competence you have in terms of work experience, but also undergrad training, and you should be able to connect with the future aspirations you have as well. The other point, which is very critical, is you reviewing the entry requirements. I want to clearly mention that Cambridge is not short of applications, no. But Cambridge needs very solid, well thought through and organized applications. Applications that meet the entry requirements. So it's not a matter of just you applying for any program, no. You need to apply for the program that you really qualify for. I want to share feedback that there is evidence that in the last year's application, very many people applied to University of Cambridge. Unfortunately, many did not have the required requirements for them to get in. So it's not a matter of just applying that maybe by chance you'll be selected. No. Cambridge is very rigorous and it's very serious, and it only goes with those who have really thought through their applications. And I'm sure you and another colleague can also think through your application before you click the submit button. So don't just go for any course. Please tick the boxes to ensure that this requirement I have, this requirement I have, this requirement I can get, this one I can easily get, this one I can easily get. So let me go for it. Lastly is please provide contact information. From time to time, they may want to contact you and maybe ask you something. And so please have that information available. I've emphasized the importance of you selecting the course that you are going for. If possible, and I highly recommend that you clearly identify any issue or a gap or a problem in your home country that you want to go back and contribute to in solving, and clearly articulate that in the personal statement. You should be able to clearly say, look, there is this gap in my home country, but I require this expertise and competence in addressing this gap. Currently, I don't have this competence, or we have a shortage of competence in addressing this gap. I want to come and learn from University of Cambridge so I can come and address this particular gap here. So in other words, when you're choosing the course, be very careful about your career aspirations, but also the national priorities where you come from, but also the entry requirements for that particular course. We want to emphasize that Cambridge is highly competitive, highly competitive. Confirm that you meet and you are on track of meeting. What we mean by saying you are on track is that you could be in your third year at Makerere University when the course is for 4 years. So you are sure that given the 3 years of academic performance you've had, the remaining 1 year or the remaining 1 semester, you will be able to beat or maintain the first class or maintain the second class upper that you could be in already. That's what they mean by saying you are on track to meet those academic requirements before applying. So it's not a matter of just applying. Be very careful, such that Africa shouldn't be portrayed that we are a continent where our candidates do not read entry requirements or do not read eligibility requirements. That if our candidates just click apply, they just click submit, that is not a good indication, and this is not a good image about Africa. So please, let's be very careful such that we don't just clog into the system, but instead we go for something we have really thought through. Something we want to emphasize is that University of Cambridge, beyond having excellent and very supportive facilities, it also has very good libraries and also very specialized research centers and research opportunities. It has small grants, it has very big grants, it has industries and tech industry where you can go and do research from. It also has conferences and seminars which allow you to have intellectual conversation, but also connect with the people who are within the same area or industry with you. Cambridge, people work in groups, and so there are interdepartmental connections. If at all you are targeting Department of Genetics, and you want to see how that department can work with Department of Mathematics or Department of Veterinary Medicine, there are working groups that cut across different departments, and it makes learning very nice and very encouraged. So we want to really encourage you to come and join this exciting place where there's academic excellence, where there's very nice facilities, but also very many professors and very many researchers who are willing to challenge the status quo, but also make a contribution to the industry, to their fields. Now, something I want to emphasize is that Cambridge also has a college system. So Cambridge and Oxford are the 2 universities that have a college system, in that all your entire social life is managed at a college level, and all your intellectual or academic life is managed at departmental level. So I want to make that very clear, that your social life, your networking, your connect, food, eating, clubs, everything, that is at college level. And there are certain colleges to help you do all that. And then there are various departments to challenge your intellect, but also to help you grow in academic performance. So I wanted you to make that very clearly, that if you think about social life, if you want a very vibrant college, then you may want to double check that as well. And they have that information on their websites. Cambridge has 31 of them, and this is just a list of them. So you may want to read about each of them. Now, some of the things people choose and people think about when they are choosing their colleges is, the first one is the availability of funding to support you if you need help. The second thing is how close it is to the department where you're going to be based. The third thing is maybe the availability of scholarships or conference research funds also. but also the availability of maybe the African culture or the Black community and so forth. So if whatever you are looking for, whatever you're choosing out for, different colleges have different specifications. Actually, the other thing which is very important is how much do they pay at that college, because Cambridge will give you, or the funder will give you the stipend, and you'll use that stipend to pay for accommodation and also to pay for meals and also pay for some services. So some colleges are a bit more expensive than others. So if you want to save a lot, you may want to do a quick search before you choose which college to go for. Again, just to mention that at the point of application, what you suggest in the system is not what you are given. You may suggest 2 colleges and each of them do not take you, but certainly another college will come and take you on. But also, if you're not sure which college you want to go for, you can just keep quiet and you can leave that blank, and then the colleges themselves will pick you up, and they will get for you one of them for you to go for. You should be aware that there are colleges that are only for females, and there are 3 of them. So if you identify as a gentleman, or if you're a gentleman, you don't want to suggest those particular ones. And you can do that research for you to know which ones give which one and which one do not give, which one are gentlemen only, which one are females only, which ones are for both. But also which ones also allow, because there are people who may want to have families, who want to come with their families, maybe some who want spacious places, some that want maybe only for who don't want to interact with the undergraduates. So you may want to go for colleges which are for only adults from 25 years and above. All that information is on their website, and that homework is entirely yours before you make a decision. Something to emphasize also is that you need to have supportive documents that you will upload in the system. The first one is the official or academic transcript. Something to emphasize is that at the point of application, you may not have full or official transcript. But if you are given an offer, that will be listed as conditional requirements for you to fulfill before you come to Cambridge. So if you get a transcript from the university you are studying now a bit earlier, it will save you a lot of time. But if you don't have one now, but you can get a partial transcript, it's okay for you to use that for the application, upload what you have, and later on, after you've been admitted, like say December or January next year, you can begin sorting out the official transcript and so on. But the earlier you get them, the better. Again, just to emphasize that you make sure that you have read the courses requirement for the transcript. Something I want to emphasize is that you need to identify people who write about you, specifically academic and professional referees. Now, they will not hand over the referral letters to you for you to upload in the system, no. But you'll put their details in the system, and then Cambridge will contact them directly. Now, Cambridge requires them to submit the referral letters about you using official organizational emails. So if they work with University of Malawi, they are supposed to use the University of Malawi's official email. If they work with Uganda Revenue Authority as your employer maybe, then they should use the URA email account when they are submitting the reference documents. Please be guided on that, and be very intentional in guiding your referees regarding that as well. Cambridge has gives a platform whereby if your referee is not responding on time and you're getting worried that maybe you may be behind the schedule, then you can go in the system and send them reminders. But also you can go and edit and put a new person. So I just want to make that very clear. However, it's very exciting. You need to understand whom do you want to put as a referee. Cambridge will always double check and understand your intellectual ability. And so Cambridge is keen to know who is speaking about this candidate as well, and how well they know you. The other thing to emphasize is that ensure that even the referral letters are also in English. So you could be applying from another country which is French speaking, like say Burkina Faso, and maybe the referees may be forced to use French in their letters, but help them and please guide them such that the letters are only and only in English. They should be, they can write in French, but please guide them to ensure the translation is done and the letters are in English. We highly encourage that you contact referees early because these are very busy people. And please guide them with what you are applying for, because this particular referee may have worked with you 7 years ago and they are not privy to what you are applying for right now, or they are not privy to what you are fronting in terms of your career aspirations. So please speak to them, guide them, give them your CV, let them know what you have been working on in the short time you've been working, maybe if you've been away from them, but also help them know your career aspirations. Because when they are writing, they need to connect your abilities, but also they need to connect how that training at Cambridge will facilitate your future goals, but also future plans. So be very intentional about that as well. Don't just allow them to be in the vacuum, because they may not know the direction you are taking regarding your application. We want to be very clear that Cambridge is very competitive, and therefore your referral letter, your personal statement, your background training, your work experience, they all matter. They all matter. And they are all assessed rigorously before a decision is made. Again, just to ensure who is this person who is going to talk about you, but also what should they talk about in your essay or in their write-ups. In our toolkit, we have given details of what they should talk about you. However, we suggest that they should be able to comment about your academic performance and your academic excellence. I have emphasized that Cambridge is targeting academically excellent candidates, but also candidates who have other skills that they are coming with. So that person should be able to talk about your academic excellence. That person should be able to comment about how suitable you are for the course in terms of your background training, but also in terms of the work you have been doing, but also in terms of the short courses you have undertaken. They should talk about that as well. They should also talk about your being able to generate original and independent results or information. Now, Cambridge is very and is against plagiarism at the highest points possible. So if your referee can say that you are good at copying and pasting, or you are not thorough in terms of coming up with independent work or independent ideas, Cambridge may think twice in terms of admitting you. Again, in terms of writing, we recommend the letter should be a bit thorough, not a person just writing one line and saying that, let me see who is on the call, saying Joshua is a good candidate, and they sign and they submit. That will disadvantage you as a candidate if they just say Joshua is a good candidate, or if they say I worked with Sumaya and she's a good girl. That will not market you at all. So they need to articulate how they worked with you, what you were able to do, what you delivered on, what is that unique thing they saw in you, but what are those technical and competency gaps they noticed in you that makes them recommend you for this either MPhil or PhD at University of Cambridge. And how do they think you fit in the intellectual competition at Cambridge? What do they think you are bringing, you are adding on to University of Cambridge that would be really, really great? If they know you have done a short course in this particular space, if they know you have an innovation that you came up in that particular space, if you worked with them to publish a paper and you were thorough and you were the one leading the team, let them talk about it as well. I want to emphasize that being a good candidate is not just mentioned, it is demonstrated. So they need to demonstrate how good you are and how great you are. In terms of character or profession, quite close to the same like academic, but we have details regarding that in the toolkit, which you can easily download on our website, and you can guide the people whom you've worked with. Because Cambridge wants to see whether you can fit in the diverse society which is here. Because Cambridge has people from over 68 different countries. So are you able to fit in? Are you able to connect? Are you able to work with others? So the other important thing that Cambridge is very careful about, and which it considers very highly, is the personal statement or the motivation letters. And this is part of the supportive documents you're going to upload. So what should you put in the personal statement? The first one, like I've clearly indicated, either a national issue that you want to contribute to when you go back, but also the purpose and the passion that made you love this particular course that you are applying for. But also connect it with your undergraduate training or the short courses you have undertaken or the conferences you have attended or the seminars you have attended or the short research that you've done or the undergraduate project you worked on in the fourth year or third year. Connect it. And lastly, you demonstrate for them how this training and how the course you're going to do is going to propel you to the future, is going to make you a great person. So a bit of 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph, you bring the big issue you want to contribute to. The second paragraph, you're demonstrating the purpose and passion for this field. And then you're connecting that field with what you already know and what you already studied and what you are already working on. And then from there, you conclude by showing them how the course you're applying for is contributing to your career vision and also the future that you are pursuing. So be very, very intentional. And don't take that personal statement lightly. If there is anything to explain on how you are a best fit candidate for Cambridge, and if you are a best fit candidate for the course you're applying for, please, this is the time. This is the time to put in your essay. What do I mean? You could be wanting to come and work with a professor working on cancer research, but you've just done a systematic review on cancer. Now, this is the time for you to connect the work you've just been doing on cancer and how it will complement your studying cancer when you come to Cambridge. Another thing which is very important at Cambridge is the CV which you're going to upload in the system. Is the CV that you're going to upload in the system. Now, the CV should really bring you out of the crowd. The CV should not be talking about the roles and the duties you were supposed to do in that particular organization. They should instead demonstrate the impact and quantify the numbers of the impact you've had in that particular role. If you were doing sales in Safaricom in Kenya, what was the impact of you doing sales in Kenya? Did you increase revenue for the organization? Did you increase the number of inquiries for the organization? Did you address client retention for the organization from maybe say 17% to 22% within 4 years? Did you make the organization perform better, maybe from being the number 17 in the annual ranking to number 7 in the annual ranking, even when it is not you who made them grow, but your work contributed to that, please mention that. That is the impact that really Cambridge wants to hear. Cambridge has guidance on how the CV should be formatted. Please double check that, and you can use exactly how they suggest. But also try to bullet your work and try to use subheadings such that they are eye-catching and somebody can easily notice the work that you are doing. We recommend that you put a short introductory statement. Now, Dr. Dan, who is on the call, has taught us a very important technique called value, impact, curiosity technique. So you need to introduce yourself using the VIC technique, value, impact, curiosity technique. So you may be wondering, what exactly am I meaning? So Dr. Danny has taught us that when you are introducing yourself, you don't need to tell us about your academic training and all those things. No. Tell us the value that you contain, you hold, and then show us the impact you've had in the past, such that you leave the panelists or the reviewers curious to know more about you. Now, let me show you what exactly I mean, which I would actually put, which you need to think about as you're writing your work. You can say, I help professionals discover their potential for success so that they don't struggle to discover their path for career growth after their first level of education. Now, for me, that is how I introduce myself. And I can add and tell them that I do this through the tools and frameworks I've developed under African Center for Career Mentorship. In the last application window alone, we had a 92.3% success rate, with 21 people winning scholarships to 9 different countries. Now, that is Abel who is speaking to you right now. So without even me telling you what I studied and how long I've worked, as long as you can hear the value I contain, if you can hear the impact I've created to people's lives, you are able to really know who this person is. We recommend you should put education background there, and also please put also add there the short courses you have undertaken as well. If there are some short courses you have undertaken, please put them there. Now, under education background, be quick to mention the project you worked on at either undergraduate or postgraduate. For example, if you're targeting a PhD, which is by research, after mentioning that you did a master's in public health from University of Malawi, you quote the project that you worked on, and if you can quote the professor whom you worked with, that is fine. Then please dive into the work experience or the career experience, dive into publication or any awards that you have, but also any extracurricular activities like leadership, like community service, professional bodies or professional affiliations. They are great things to have. If you can forget everything from this meeting, don't forget that for the CV, the focus is on the impact you have created over time. And if you want to know how to mention that, African Center for Career Mentorship, which I founded, has a very nice 2 videos on how to come up with a very nice CV. So just check out for African Center for Career Mentorship YouTube, and you'll find 2 videos there on CV writing, and you will see how you can quantify your impact and how it can come out very, very well. Now, for people who are targeting to come for a master's by research program or a PhD program, you need to have your idea you want to work on. I want to mention that idea will change when you get to Cambridge, but you need to have an idea you want to work on. Cambridge promotes innovation. Cambridge promotes independent thinking and independent reasoning. And so even when you come here and you're going to ask your supervisor to change or to refine that proposal or that concept, but you need to have any idea you want to work on. So right now we have a program which we are calling the CAMP, which is the Cambridge University Application and Support Program for prospective students. For me, I've made it very clear to the 3 mentees I'm supporting, 2 from Nigeria and 1 from Malawi. I've been very, very clear that the first thing we did was to clearly work on our CV. That we finished. The second thing that we are now doing is to come up with a PhD concept, because Cambridge promotes innovation, but also independent reasoning and thinking. That idea will change when you come here. That idea will evolve when you come here. That idea will be transformed when you come to Cambridge. No problem. But Cambridge wants to see your initial thoughts. So the question is, what should you put in that small concept of 3 pages? We are recommending that you put the small introduction, you put the problem that you want to solve, you put the research questions or the hypothesis that you want to test, you put the objectives you want to pursue, and you put a short methodology or approach that you intended to follow in answering this particular question or testing this hypothesis. We highly recommend that you put references as well. Cambridge badly promotes research, and therefore you citing other people's published work is extremely important. If you are targeting department of primary health care and your project is going to be on this particular topic, we highly recommend you to read the papers published by that research group that you're planning to join. Why is that important? Because you are trying to align with what the group is working on. That easily earns you acceptance from them, but also they know that you have appreciated their hard work as a research group. So if you know this research group is researching on cancer or sustainable energy, please read their work, read their paper. And if you are interested in what they are doing, you propose to answer the limitations from their work or the areas they point out as areas for future research. For you suggest those ones as your research questions or objectives. Now, Cambridge, you will connect easily with the supervisors on 2 fronts. You will connect with them if you are planning to come and research in the same area they are working on, or you are proposing to use similar techniques that they use in their research group. Let me repeat that. You will easily connect with the supervisor at Cambridge on 2 fronts. Either you are proposing to work on the research idea they are working on. Maybe they are working on cancer and you're proposing to work on cancer. Maybe they are working on sustainable plant material, and also you are proposing to work on that. If you connect on that, chances are high you'll get a positive acceptance or feedback. Or you are planning to use the same technique that they are also using. That is very important for Cambridge and other universities as well, because they must see how you connect with what they are doing. You may be wondering, how is actual research done at University of Cambridge? This is how research is done at University of Cambridge. When you get accepted, you travel and come to University of Cambridge, of course, the first day you're going to be in the college sorting this and getting accommodation and all that politics. That is no problem. I told you colleges handle social life. No problem with your research work. Then say on Monday, you now move to the department where you're going to meet your supervisor. By the time you arrive, your supervisor will have arranged an office for you. So you will arrive and the supervisor is going to take you to an office where you're going to be sitting. So, if you have no laptop, the supervisor will arrange with you and get for your laptop. and then they will connect you to the emailing list and everything on the Wi-Fi and all that. So what happens is that every day you just leave your home where you stay from the college and go to the office and you sit and you begin reading that small area or that research area you chose yourself. And you meet with the supervisor once a week or twice a week or thrice a week, depending on the need. However, in the first stages of your master's or PhD, when you are still conceptualizing, you may meet fewer times, like for only 30 minutes or 20 minutes or 40 minutes. And then, but as you progress, you meet for a longer period of time and the time just goes away like nothing. So, in the entire week, you are reading your work, but we have wanted to go and brief your supervisor what you have been reading and what you have found so far. It is more of a casual conversation, but that is how intellectual thinking and intellectual growth is transferred from this professor to you. So as you keep presenting and talking about your work, like, oh, this week I was able to read this paper, I found out this very exciting, I found the other, and then he says, or she says, what did you learn on that paper? I actually learned like this, learned the other thing, I learned the other thing, but I didn't understand this part specifically. What do you think about it? And then he can explain. He can explain what that means and what that is, why that is important. And you're like, I was able to also think about this. Don't you think if we use this approach, we could have gotten a better response than what they used? Says, okay, that could be a nice idea. Let's go and think about it. Let's go and do research about it. Let's go and dig deep about it. Let's go and write a concept about it. Then you can say, I was thinking we could either do this or we could actually try to follow what they did and we see if we can get to the same point. Say, okay, let's try it out. So that is how casual the supervision and the research is at Cambridge. But I'm telling you, the more you talk, the more you interact, the more you chat with the supervisor, you are growing intellectually. But on a weekly basis, there are research seminars that you go and attend, and you learn from other people's work as well. By the way, by the time you get to the second semester, if you are an MPhil student, they begin putting you on the list of people who are going to present your work as well. If you're a PhD candidate, by the time you get to the second semester or third, term, here we use terms. The time you get to your second term or third term, they begin requesting you to present whatever little you have. Even when you just have ideas and thoughts or just proposal, you come and present them and they're like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. I think if you can do like this, you can miss this. There is this paper by this group from London School of Hygiene. Have you read it? There is this paper from Harvard talking about this. Have you read it? Maybe Harvard used this approach. Do you want to replicate what they did, or you want to take another approach which they did? So that kind of seminars and intellectual, this kind of happen every week. They help you to learn a lot, and also they help you to kind of go deeper and understand your subject matter more, but also the techniques more. So please come up with an idea of what you want to talk about or what you want to research about. Like I've mentioned, it will be changed, it will be refined, it will be improved. That's no problem. At this stage, they want to see, do you have something you're proposing? Actually, many of them will want you to contact a supervisor before you apply or before you submit your application. I suggest that don't contact a supervisor unless you have your CV ready or you have your concept ready, because they will tell you that let's have a Zoom meeting to discuss what you are planning to work on. And if they ever tell you that, you know you have an opportunity to make a very good case. Now, you may send an email and they may not reply. If they do not reply, do not feel bad about it. Please send a reminder after 3 days. most working hours, send a reminder after 5 days. Do not feel bad that maybe they have rejected you. They are very busy people. They have to teach, they have to supervise, but also they are engaged into projects and research themselves. I want to tell you something about Cambridge professors here. They continue researching, So even when you find him supervising a PhD student, he is very busy also in the laboratory making things work out, connecting pieces and connecting wires. So they are very engaged. They have hands-on experience. So the time to check on emails, he can check later on. And so don't feel bad that maybe you've not heard from them. I should also emphasize that the University of Cambridge uses emails so much. So never be tempted to call them directly. I highly recommend you to use emails. But University of Cambridge emailing system has what we call filters. So it normally blocks out some emails which look suspicious. So when you're writing the body, when you're writing the title, be very professional, because if you're not professional, the emailing system, the Microsoft emailing system, will block that email from getting through the filters to the supervisor. So for you to be in Malawi expecting a feedback, expecting a response when actually they haven't received it in any way. You should also be aware emails can go in the junk or they can go in the junk, or they can go into the spam, they can go into the trashed in the trashed sections of the email as well, and they may miss it. You should also be aware that some people also do email setup whereby they maybe look for only emails which are related to this, which go in a forecast box, and then other emails end up in another box which he hardly checks, which he hardly thinks through. So when you're writing an email, be very professional and use the usual words which Cambridge normally uses. For example, if you say PhD, that's a keyword Cambridge uses, and so the filters will easily allow such an email to pass through. If you say PhD supervision, if you say research interest, if you say collaboration. Now, those are keywords that are used in the system, and so the email can easily go through. Cambridge has very many scholarships. Actually, when you go in the system for Cambridge and you say, I'm looking for funding, you'll be amazed how much funding is available in the system. There are over 300 plus scholarships within Cambridge. Now, Cambridge has made things easy that those scholarships are within the system. Now, the information you fill in the early stages in the portal, Cambridge begins filtering the scholarship information for you. This is what I mean. If you have said you are a male or you are a female, there are scholarships which are targeting males and females in the system. So along the way, you'll find they will say, okay, you said you identify as a male. Do you want us to consider you for this scholarship? I advise that you say yes. Then they say, in stage number 2, you chose Churchill College. But for all the people who come to Churchill College, compete for this scholarship, do you want us to consider you for it? You say yes. Then you say that you are from Africa. We have this particular scholarship which supports students from low-income countries, including Africa, and you qualify for it. Would you like us to consider you for it? Now, some of them, when you say yes, they prompt you to give a motivation letter or a personal statement why they should consider you for it. So that's okay. So some of them, it is okay, you tick and you move on, but some of them will ask you to say, can you explain why you should be considered for this? So you should also be cognizant that if there are some scholarships which are in some colleges, and you will not be considered for them if you've not chosen those colleges earlier on. So as you keep ticking the boxes, or as you keep selecting or providing information at early stages, that information keeps filtering through the system. For example, if you said, I am married, now Cambridge has what we call the child support program, whereby if you are married, you can benefit from the child care support program at University of Cambridge. So since you said you're married and you have 2 children or have 1 child, later on the system, it will say, we have noticed that you are married and you have 2 children. Would you like to benefit from the child care support program? I highly recommend that you say yes. You accept as much as you can, because you may never know which one you're going to be successful at. So I highly recommend you to check out for very many scholarships which are there. Even if you go in the postgraduate admissions portal right now and you say, I am from Africa, I'm from Uganda, I'm looking for funding for 2025, 2026 academic year intake. You will be, and then you tell them I'm targeting PhD scholarships. You'll be amazed how much it will filter for you before you even get into the application. What you see on the left, these are just a photo of the recent, which was recently taken by MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program. So when you get to Cambridge, be ready to meet a diverse African community here. There are very many Africans here. The number has now grown. Specifically for Uganda, this year alone, we have 6 people who have got MasterCard and they have come here. So please, you're welcome to apply to Cambridge, and feel free to reach out if you need support or if you need help. And so that's the end of my presentation, and so we shall go into the Q&A section.